Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be doing part 2 of the Book Expo book haul. I will also be discussing my experience at the event, so just as an FYI, stay tuned towards the end. So for those who didn't watch my part 1, I will link it above for you to check it out. In that video, I believe I had showed you guys 20 of the books that I received. So this will be the rest of my stack here that I got from Book Expo. So the first book in this pile is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. This is not the final cover. I believe the final cover looks something like this, actually, which is actually quite nice. I like it a lot. This book comes out on January 1st, 2019, and this is actually a copy that I was not expecting to pick up. I didn't know they were dropping it, and when they handed it to me, they just told me it was like a magical realism. I also believe it's historical fiction, and it was really the magical realism part that kind of drew me in. So this book is essentially set in the middle of winter at an inn, and it happens at night really, when the regulars are there just chilling, doing their own thing, and then all of a sudden this injured stranger bursts through the door, and in his arms he's carrying a drowned corpse of a dead girl. And hours later, this girl kind of stirs to life, and people are now wondering, is it magic? Is it a miracle? Like, what's going on? So the premise of the book is quite intriguing, so I'm quite excited to pick this one up. I also like the front where it says, along the borders of this world lie others. There are places you can cross. This is one such place. So I don't know, this whole thing already sounds very fascinating to me, so I can't wait to pick this one up. So the next book on this list is one I'm super pumped for. This is the one line where I waited for such a long time. Usually the line, even though they're quite long, they move pretty fast, but this one, a lot of people in line actually were complaining how we were waiting for an hour and a half before we even got close to the front of the line, which I thought was really strange, by the way. But it turns out it's because the author just wanted to give some personal time to all of the people who were requesting her signature. So she was giving a lot of one-on-one individual time, which is something I really appreciated. So despite the long wait, I was really glad to get a copy of this book and have it signed by the author. And this book is called Fairyborne by Claire Legrand. This book actually came out already. I believe it came out on May 22nd. And this book looks so gorgeous. Look at this amazing cover. It's so stunning. I'm in love with this cover. I like all things when there's gold involved in it, whether it's black and gold, silver and gold, blue and gold, etc. They all look amazing, and then I become like, yes, I want that book. So this book is actually book 1 of the Imperium trilogy, and it's basically about these two queens who will essentially rise, and there's two girls, young girls in the beginning, who are born basically centuries apart from each other, and there is just so much magic, mystery, intrigue, fantasy, and romance involved, so I am really pumped for this book. So the next book that I picked up is one I'm really excited for, because I don't really hear too many retellings or stories, etc. about this certain mythology, and this book is marketed as the untold story of King Midas's daughter. And so this book is called A Touch of Gold by Annie Sullivan. I am so excited for this book. This book looks so pretty, by the way, again with the gold aspect, and the black looks amazing. Also, this book is signed by the author, which is amazing as well. She says, "Stephanie, you're worth more than gold." Thank you. So yeah, I mean, this book is essentially about King Midas and his daughter, and I am really excited for this one. It sounds really good. This book comes out on August 14th, 2018, and I cannot wait to pick this one up. So the next book that I picked up is one that I actually didn't know. I don't know anything about this book, to be honest, other than the author, and I've read her previous book, Iron Cat, which is why I wanted to pick this one up. So this book is called Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Soria. Oh my gosh. Again, this is like the 4th book, I believe, where there's black and gold on the cover. This is so my theme going on right now. This book comes out on October 2018. So this book basically is summarized by this statement right here. In a city conquered by prophecies, can 4 powerful friends rewrite fate? So I'm already really excited for this book. I love the author. Her previous book was really good. I really liked it. So I am only expecting really positive things from this book. So the next book that I picked up is one that I am really excited for, but I feel like I said that for everything. But mostly it's because it's like a blast from the past. This was from a series. I guess the author decided to continue the series and write a new book, but this series was one that I read back in middle school or even high school, like around that time period. So it's been a very long time since I've read this series, but at that time I loved the books. So when I found out that this author is essentially writing a new book. I was like, oh my god, yes, sign me up for it. And this one is called Imposters by Scott Westerfeld. I am really excited for this book. I love the Ugly series. That was such a good series. Honestly, at this point though, it's been like 10 years, like more than 10 years. So I might have to go reread the books because I don't remember what they're about. I just remember basically about this girl trying to become pretty, etc. I mean, that's why it's called Uglies. And then all these surgeries that were made to your body to basically have you become this person that you're aiming to be, instead of being like who you really are. So I don't remember, maybe that's not even the storyline. I don't remember. I just know that it was about beauty, a lot about beauty. I mean, the series is called Uglies, but I am really excited for this book. I think I'm going to have to go and reread the series before I can dive into this one, because I don't want to read this one and then spend like half the book kind of remembering or trying to remember what the rest of the previous books were about. So, because that happens to me a lot, where I pick up these books like years after, and then I end up taking most of the book just trying to catch up in terms of what this book is about. So this one I'm really excited for. I'm not really sure in terms of if this is just going to be a new series set in the world, or if it's going to be like a continuation of the original Ugly series. All I know is that right now this is supposed to be Uglies book 5, I believe. So anyways, this book comes out on September 11th, 2018. So the next book that I got is actually not an ARC. This book already came out. Well, I mean, Fairyborne came out already too, but that just came out like 2-3 weeks ago. This book came out a lot longer, but I received this book from my Owl Crate, or not from my Owl Crate, but from the Owl Crate booth. I had really good luck by the way this year. I spun the Owl Crate wheel early in the morning, and I got a book. It's not this book, it's a different book. I'll show you guys later. And then I went back to it at the end of the day, I think like right before I left, around like 5:30, and I spun it again, and I won another book. So I don't know, like usually, if you guys have seen my Y'all West video, if you guys seen my BookCon video from last year, every single time I spin the wheel, I never get a book. I only got a book last year, but I've been getting like calendars or pins or keychains. I don't remember, but it was never a book. But this year, I spun it twice on the same day. Boom, 2 books right there. So I was really excited for that. So this book is called The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. The funny thing is, actually, I've never actually read any of her books before. I've watched the movie Love, Simon and loved it, but I never read her books. So when everyone was trying to get the new book that she wrote with Adam Severa, What If It's Us, I was not super... I mean, I was excited for it because I thought it was interesting, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I need to have this book, because I never read any of her books before, and I've read 1 or 2 books of Adam's books, but none of them were like, oh my god, amazing to me. So for me, I was okay with not getting that ARC. I figured a lot more people are probably dying to get it more than I am. So I was excited to get this one, because that way at least I can at least read one of her books now. So this book sounds like a really, really heartwarming, very relatable book. It's about a 17-year-old girl called Molly who goes through all these unrequited love, and she's trying to figure out like, how is it even possible? Like, how she has all these crushes, but no one ever likes her back, and she thinks that the like the statistic of someone liking you back when the same time that you like that person is just so small that she's like, it's so hard. And she's like a perfect alignment of feelings and circumstances, which is so true. So anyways, this book, like, it would be really good. If it's as good as the movie Love, Simon, then I will be really, really excited for it. I mean, I've only heard good things about this book anyway, so I'm still very excited for it. But yeah. So the next book that I got is a historical fiction, but the reason why I picked this up is because the fact that, well, first of all, Kristen Hanna had a really positive quote on the front of the cover, and I was like, I love Kristen Hanna, so yes. But not only that, but I like books. I tend to enjoy books where there are a lot of strong female leads, and this book, it definitely has a strong female lead. And this book is called Daughter of a Queen by Sarah Bird. According to the back, it's essentially based on the real life story of the feisty and fearless Kathy Williams, who becomes the first woman to serve in the peacetime US military. So it's basically about her story. And I don't know, but like, I'm really excited for this book, despite the fact that it is a historical fiction, but something about this just sounds like it'll be really up my alley. Plus, Kristen Hanna here wrote, heartbreaking and deeply honest, you'll be swept away by the passion and power of this remarkable, trailblazing woman. So, with her endorsement, how can I say no? And this book comes out on September 4th, 2018. So the next book that I picked up is one that I just saw the author and I was like, yes, I need to pick up this book. Even though I haven't read any of her books for a while now. The last book that I read, the only book that I read from her is Pretending to Dance, and I actually did a review with this with Emily, so I'll link that above in case you want to check that out. It was a while ago when we did the review. So this book is called The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain, and this cover is so pretty. This book comes out on October 2nd. So this book is basically along the fact that a mother's love for her child essentially has no boundary. I am so excited for this book. I feel like her books seems to follow the same kind of themes with Kristen Hanna. Their writing style is a bit different, but the themes where they're mostly about family and love and like family love, not like romantic love, all are kind of similar, and I really like that kind of books. So I don't know, I'm really excited for this book. So the next book that I picked up is mostly picked up because someone described it as similar to Stranger Things, and with that kind of tagline I was like, I have to pick this book up. Plus, for those of you who've been following my videos, I've mentioned a few times that I really enjoy the series, so obviously I had to pick up this book, and this book is called The Dark Deep by Ali Condi and Brendan Reichs. This book comes out on October 2nd, and I'm also kind of excited because this is the first time where Ali and Brendan are coming together to write a book together, and I'm really excited to see what this book has in store. Plus, I already said it's similar, it's supposed to be described similar to Stranger Things, or it has like Stranger Things aspect to it, so pretty excited for this one. So the next book that I picked up is one that I'm so excited for. I think I've used the word excited like 50 billion times already, but I was really excited for this one mainly because, okay, so first of all, the line for this one was so long, and you were able to pick at least 3, possibly 4 books. One of them was What If It's Us, and that went out so quick. I think by the time I got there, that was already completely gone, and there are only 2 copies left of this one, and this was actually my first choice. So I was really glad and very lucky to actually get a copy of this one. And this book is called The Light Between Worlds by Laura Weymouth. I am really excited for this book. I actually I was hoping that the cover would be similar to the final cover on Goodreads, but unfortunately it is a very art copy version. This book comes out on October 23rd, and basically this book, the main reason why it really drew me in is because it's described something similar to Narnia. I mean, like, the sentence in the back literally just says, what happens when you return to the real world after being in a fantastical one like Narnia? So this already like really drew me in because of that statement, and I loved Narnia when I was growing up, so really excited for this one. So next book that I picked up is one I am also extremely psyched for. I read her previous series, the Iron Face series, and I absolutely loved it. She also has a Talon Saga, which I've also heard really good things about. I haven't picked it up yet, mainly because I don't believe it's finished. At least last time I checked a few months ago, it was not finished. So when I saw that she had another book coming out, I was like, oh my god, yes. And this book is called A Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I am so excited for this book. This says, every 1,000 years, one wish should be granted. The time is near. And this book comes out on October 2nd, 2018. And this book is basically set also in a Japanese-esque world, I believe. It's supposed to be a enchanting and perilous land of shapeshifters with samurais, kami spirits, and Japanese legends. So I'm really excited for this book. I honestly love books with Asian themes in it, not because I'm Asian, but because a lot of their themes, especially in like the mystical world, it's very intense and very large. I can't even think of the right word for this, but there's just so many things to write about, and Japanese, especially the mystical aspect, is so varied. There's just so many like mystical creatures. Have you ever watched some of the movies out there? I believe like Spirited Away, for example, which is a really good classic one. There's just so many of these like magical beings in Japanese lore, and so this one I am really excited for. And she also signed this book, so I'm really excited for that as well, to Stephanie here. So yeah, really excited for this one. So the next book that I picked up is one that I actually didn't want to pick up at all, but the thing is I felt kind of compelled to pick it up because I already waited in line for like half an hour, 45 minutes for it, and it was one of the ones where you spin and you get your selection of whatever you spin on. But the thing is, by the time I got there, and I got there early, by the way, I got there like half an hour before the line even started, and somehow like I still had to wait like half an hour to 45 minutes, and by the time I got around to it, they only had about like 3 books left, like 3 different books left, and one was a comic book which I had no interest whatsoever. The other one was a sport novel which I wasn't really interested in either, and the last one was anthology. And the thing is, I'm not really into anthologies, which is why I didn't want to pick this up. But the reason why I picked up anyways was because it's edited by Marieke Nijkamp. I'm still really bad at pronouncing that name, but I really liked her books. She's the one who wrote This Is Where It Ends and Before I Let Go. So with her editing skills, I figured this book seems the best out of the 3 options that I had at that time. This book is called Unbroken edited by Marieke Nijkamp, and it has a lot of authors in here. It has Heidi Heilig, Cody Keplinger, Catherine Glock, etc. There's supposed to be 13 stories, and they're all starring disabled teens. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure what to expect from this book, to be honest. Again, the reason why I'm not a huge fan of anthologies is because I'm not the biggest fan for short stories. So I don't know what to expect from this book, but I guess we'll find out. And this book comes out on September 18th, 2018. So the next book that I picked up is actually a signed paperback copy. I've heard a lot of good things about this series. Actually, my roommate, she is a literary agent, I believe, and I think she had read this book when it was going through her company. So she was telling me how great this book was, and so I actually haven't picked this book up yet, mainly because I really don't like starting books when they're in the middle of a series because I hate waiting. I have zero patience whatsoever. So that being said, though, when I saw that she was signing books, I figured, you know what, I've heard really good things about it. I might as well go check it out and see for myself why this book is so amazing and read the first one since it's signed anyway. So this book is called 3 Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. I am really excited for this book, actually, mainly because for some reason it kind of reminds me of the the Study series by Maria Snyder. I think it's the fact that one of the queens here in this book is a poisoner, so something about that just makes me feel like it's about like the Study series, and I absolutely love that series. So anyways, this book is about these set of triplets. They're 3 queens, and they all have they're all equal heirs to the throne, and they all have a possessor of a coveted magic. One of them is an elemental, another one is a poisoner, and the third one is a naturalist. So one has basically command of all the elements, the other one can essentially ingest any of the deadliest poisons and is okay with it, and the third one apparently has a lot of the ability to bloom and control like lions and nature and whatever. So I don't know, this book sounds like it would be really fun to read, and I'm really excited. Right now I believe the 3rd book is coming out in September, and there's supposed to be a 4th book, so I don't know when the series will end, but this sounds like a really good series that I just want to dive into and binge read. But unfortunately, since all these books are not out yet, I had to see when I feel like reading this book. But this book is signed and it's personalized to me, and she drew a little bee here, and it's supposed to be Queen Bee, so very cute. But she was really nice, so really excited to read this book. So the next book that I picked up is one that I'm also really excited for. This one is really buzz about as well, and it's by a very famous author who, actually, the funny thing is I haven't actually read any of his books, funny enough, but the thing is, I've heard so many good things about him and his books. I feel like I've read his books before. So anyways, I'm really glad to finally pick up a book from this author because I've only heard good things, the positive things about him. So I'm really hoping to see for myself if he is as amazing as everyone is saying he is. But the interesting thing about this book in particular is the fact that he actually co-wrote it with his son. So that's really cool. But anyways, this book is called Dry by Neil Shusterman with Jared Shusterman. I'm really excited for this book. I love this cover as well. This book comes out on October 2nd, 2018. And this book is essentially about a book about survival when the California drought escalates to catastrophic proportions. So I'm already very excited for this book. This book sounds amazing, and it's by an author that is very highly raved about, so I cannot wait to see for myself. And read his book, obviously. So the next book that I picked up is one that I think will be a lot of fun to read, and that is The Supervillain and Me by Danielle Banas, or Banas. I hope I pronounced that name right. But this book, like, it sounds like so much fun. It's basically about a girl called Abby Hamilton, and apparently I guess her brother moonlights as the famous Red Comet, and because she doesn't have any powers of her own, she's never considered following in his footsteps. And then one day she gets saved by a super villain. But apparently he tells her that he's not as evil as everyone says he is, and that he's trying to tell her that their city's under a vicious new threat. So now as she follows him deeper into the city's darkest secrets, she finds out that perhaps not all supervillains are as bad as they say they are, and that sometimes it's the heroes that can't be trusted. So, I don't know, this book sounds like it'll be a lot of fun to read, and I'm really excited to read it. So this book comes out on July 2018. So the next book that I got a lot of claim to fame during Book Expo, mainly by the sheer size of it. There were a few stories about how people, when they're trying to carry this book back home to their home country, home city, whatever, they got held down by the TSA because they were wondering what is this brick-sized thing in their suitcase. And then they found out that it is a, what is it, like 800 pages? Yeah, 800-page book. And that book is called The Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I am so excited for this book. It sounds amazing, and this is by the author who wrote The Bone Season, which is very, very popular. I actually never read that book, to be honest. I only watched the movie, but I've heard really good things about it, and there's supposed to be dragons in it, so that's already amazing. It's basically an epic high fantasy novel. So I am really, really stoked to read this. I think this is one of those books where I'll be reading this for a month because this is so big. I mean, it's bigger than my face, I feel like. So I'm really excited for this book. My friend who works with Bloomsbury, when I was getting this book, she was like raving about this book. She was like, this book is so good, definitely need to pick this up. And when I got it, I was just like, wow, this book is gigantic. I didn't realize that this was a book that she was talking about because I saw people carry this before, and then I didn't know I was like, which book is that? That book is huge. And then I'm sitting in line waiting for it, and then I see this, and I'm like, whoa, what happened here? And then, yeah, so anyways, I'm really excited to read this one and see, and just I feel like this book needs to be read in the winter when I can just cozy down and just sit and read for like a month, basically. And this book comes out on February 26, 2019. Actually, I'm a little confused with this publication date because Goodreads says one thing and this book says March, so I guess maybe because it's the end of February they just put March here. I have no idea, but it's around that time period is when this book will be out. But yeah, just look at this massive size. The next book that I picked up is a historical fiction, but is a romantic historical fiction. See guys, I'm still following my romance thing here. And this book is called The Age of Light by Whitney Scherer. I am really excited for this book, mainly because it's a debut novel, by the way, and it's set in Paris in the 1930s between this Vogue model turned photographer and this artist, and it is the love story between the two of them. So it sounds really, really good. I cannot wait to read this. Something about this cover, something about this story just really speaks to me. And the book comes out on February 5th, 2019. So there's quite a ways to go before the book comes out. So the next book that I picked up is one that I'm also really excited for, mainly because I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's another one that a lot of people are raving about. And I actually did an interview with the author herself, so I will link that interview down below in case you want to, check it out and see like what are her inspirations behind writing this book. And this book is called Rule by Ellen Goodlett. This cover is so pretty. It's also gold, guys, gold and red and black, so this cover is gorgeous. It comes out on September 2018, and basically it's about this king who is dying and his heir was recently murdered, and now people in the kingdom are wondering, what do I do now? Like who's going to rule the country after the king is dies. And then he brings along 3 girls who turns out to be his illegitimate daughters. So now they're basically fighting for the throne and or the crown, and trying to figure out like who will be the next heir. This book is apparently supposed to be 3 Dark Crowns meets Pretty Little Liars. So that's, oh, with a dash of King Lear. So anyways, this sounds really good. It's supposed to be a fantasy debut novel. So really excited for this one. So the next book that I picked up is one that I mostly picked up because it's described as reminiscent of Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale, as well as Martha Hall Kelly's Lilac Girl. So even though I haven't actually read either books, I'm a huge fan of Kristen Hanna's books in general. So I figured this book can possibly do me wrong, and this book is called The Light Over London by Julia Kelly. I really like the cover, by the way. Something about it just looks really, really pretty. So this book essentially follows the story of these 2 women. One is Cara, who is going through a bunch of old things, a bunch of old relics, and finds all these things that are related to the wartime London, and she's not prepared to kind of find out about the stark reality of London during that time. And Louise, who is the girl described in the relic, I guess maybe they're letters or something, I'm not entirely sure, but she's the one who's talking about her past, what happened to her during her life during the wartime, as well as her lover. So I'm really excited for this book, to be honest. It looks really, really good, and with it described as similar to or reminiscent of Kristen Hanna's book, I was like, yes. So this book comes out on January 8th, 2019. So the next book is also one that I'm extremely excited for. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. The author is also really nice. I actually went to see for her signing, and when she found out I was a booktuber, she was like, oh, please tag me so I can go watch your video, etc. And I was like, yes, I will do that. So this book is called Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Negan. I am so excited for this book. Look at how beautiful this cover. This book is about the paper caste, which is considered as the lowest and most oppressed caste in this country called Ikara, and it's about a girl called Lei, and she's basically just trying to go through her life, and at the end, like, there's obviously she falls in love with someone, and she's basically just, it's just more like how far is she willing to go to get her freedom. So I'm really excited for this book. There's a sentence back here that says, there's something that they always forget about paper. It can light the world on fire and make it burn. So that sentence really struck at me. So I'm really excited for this book. This book comes out on October 23rd, 2018. So the next book that I picked up is probably described as one of the most interesting and unique story plotline I have ever seen, and it's a debut too, so imagine that. It's called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. So this book is about the deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, basically. I guess apparently she's murdered every night at 11 p.m. and this guy called Aidan Bishop can identify her killer and break the cycle. But every time the day begins again, he wakes up in the body of a different guest. And some of his hosts are more helpful than others. So basically, it's just like 8 days, 8 witnesses for you to inhabit, and they only let you escape if you can identify the killer. So I guess he can't go through all 8 days, because after 8 days, she's dead for good. And so, which is probably why it's called 7.5 Deaths of her. So anyway, this book sounds so good. It's so unique. This is actually like the first book that I got in Book Expo. It was just there, and I went and I was like, yes, I need to grab it right away. And this book comes out in September 2018. But I am so psyched for this book. It's such a unique concept that, I mean, I've never seen a book about this before. So really excited to pick this one up. So the next book is one that I'm also really excited about. I actually was able to get a copy for it the day that I was there, even though they weren't giving out until the next day. But thankfully she was like, oh, I actually have a copy around, so she just gave it to me. So I'm really thankful for her for going out of her way to providing me a copy of this book. And this book is called The Similars by Rebecca Hanover. I am really excited for this book. It's basically about these 6 clones, and I guess they all go to this one elite boarding school. So there's a quote up front that says, can you be original if you've been copied? But this book sounds really good. I have really high hopes for this book, and I believe this is also one of the other books, along with The Girl King, that is one of the top buzzworthy YA books for the next few months, next year, something like that. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. And this book comes out in January 2019. So I guess it was the most top buzzworthy books for 2019 as of right now. But anyways, I'm really excited for this one. So the next book that I picked up is one that I'm really excited for, as always, mainly because it's by Nicholas Sparks and I really like his books. This one is called Every Breath by Nicholas Sparks. It's coming out in October 2018, and honestly, I have no idea what this book is about. I just knew that it was by him and I was like, yes, please, I need this book. But according to the front flap, it just very short, it says it's a story about a chance encounter that becomes a touchstone for two vastly different individuals, transcending decades, continents, and the bittersweet workings of fate. So I am really excited for this book. So the next book that I picked up is another one that I'm super psyched for, using a different word here, guys. And this one is called Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. So this book is described as a psychological thriller, which sounds so good. Basically, it's about a girl called Summer Marks who was murdered brutally in the woods 5 years ago, and everyone in town thinks that it was her two best friends who killed her. And so the whole world is calling them monsters, but the thing is, they didn't do it. So it's now up to them to uncover what really happened. So I'm really excited for this book. This book sounds amazing. It's coming out on October 2nd, 2018. And this is also signed by the author herself, which is pretty cool. The next book that I picked up is probably the number one book that everyone was highly anticipating, and I'm so glad that I managed to get a copy of this because I'm really excited for this book. This book is called Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zuzak. I'm so psyched, mainly because, okay, so I want to give this author another chance. That's the main reason why I want to pick this book up, because last time I read The Book Thief via audiobook, I absolutely hated it. I am the only person I know who hates the book, but I also read through audiobooks, so I was like, when I saw that she had another book right now, I was like, I need to give this author another chance. So I am really excited to pick this one up and get a physical copy, because God knows if I get an audiobook again, I might hate the book and everyone's gonna hate me because I hate the book. So I'm really excited that I managed to get a copy of this book. This book comes out on October 9th, 2018. So just as a brief summary of what this book is about, it says, once in the tide of Dunbar Pass, there were 5 brothers, but the 4th of us was the best of us. Let me tell you about our brother, the 4th Dunbar boy called Clay. Everything happened to him. We were all of us changed through him. So I don't know, this book sounds like it'll be a very riveting, emotional book as well. You guys, I'm finally at the end. This is the last book on my entire book haul from Book Expo, and this is the first book that I got from Our Crate, by the way. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm actually really glad I got this one because I was going to purchase it a few months ago. Good thing I didn't purchase it because I won a copy. So this book is called The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. Really excited for this book. I've heard so many good things about this book, to be honest, that I was like, why didn't I not pick this up? And I'm like thinking, oh, it's because this book has a sequel to it, so I want to pick this up after the sequel, but now I can pick this up without the sequel. I'm really excited for it, and from what I remember from everyone saying, talking about this book, it's supposed to be really funny, very emotional, maybe not so much emotional, but it's supposed to be about a boy called Henry Montague, who basically has this impossible crush on his best friend and traveling companion, Percy. So I am really excited to pick this book up, and I cannot wait to read it. So before I forget, I just want to mention this one more book, because this book is actually not one that I received during Book Expo or BookCon, but it was one that I wanted to get, but unfortunately when I went there, they didn't have it, but thankfully the publisher kindly sent me a copy to my office. So it just arrived this morning, so I wanted to just show you guys, since this is technically could have been or should have been in my Book Expo haul, so I figured I'd just show you guys now. And that book is That's Not What Happened by Cody Keplinger. I really wanted to review this book because it seems like another one of those books where it's like a very serious issue and it's very relevant to today, and I just really wanted to get my hands on this so I can read it. So basically this book is about a girl called Lee, where about 3 years ago her school had a massacre and her best friend Sarah was killed in the bathroom during the mass shooting, and she died basically proclaiming her faith. However, that's not true. So now Lee is basically trying to figure out what's worse, whether or not she can deal with the guilt or whether or not the consequences of standing up is worse. And this book comes out on August 28th, 2018, and I definitely will review this book on my channel or on my vlog. I haven't decided yet, but I'll definitely review this book around the time that it comes out for sure. So this officially concludes my book haul from my Book Expo experience. I'll be doing another video from my book con haul because there's quite a stack from there as well. But as you can tell, like, I have so many books that I am so excited for. Okay, I need to stop saying that word. I have so many books that I'm extremely pumped to read because they all sound so good. Especially, some of them are a little bit more daunting than others, specifically the Orange Tree book, The Pear of the Orange Tree. I'm a little daunted by this 850-page massive novel, but other books I'm really excited to read, and hopefully I'll be either reviewing them via my blog or on this channel. I haven't decided yet because there are a lot of books. I cannot review all of them on this channel. But overall, my experience was great at Book Expo. Met a lot of cool people, networked with a few as well. A lot of people were really kind, especially the publishers actually. They were so much nicer during Book Expo than during BookCon. I feel like BookCon people like did not give you the time of day. They were just like, no. Like, straight up just like, no. Whereas during Book Expo, there's a few times when, because I couldn't go the last day, I asked them, I was like, oh, are you still giving away, like, are you still offering this book? And they're like, yes, of course, and they just rushed over and grabbed the book to me. Some of them were like, no, we don't have any more copies, which I understand. Some of them were like, but no, we're only giving it out that day because we don't have any books with us at this moment, which I also understand. So obviously, like, overall experience was really positive. Really like the publishers there. So anyways, at the end of the day, I had a very positive experience for Book Expo. Definitely want to attend next year, provided I have the time to go. But as of right now, fingers crossed that I can go again because it is a really good experience overall. Great networking experience, great way to meet people, obviously a great way to get a hold of a ton of great books that, you know, a lot of people are talking about and ones that I'm very excited for. So end of the day, perfect experience. Well, not perfect, but very, very positive experience. So anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. Obviously, let me know in the comments below if there is a book that I mentioned here that you are also highly, highly anticipating. Let me know in the comments below. And which book are you most excited for out of all the ones that I mentioned? And of course, if you have your own book haul video from Book Expo, do let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious. I've actually been kind of stalking everyone on YouTube the past few days just to kind of see what everyone else got, because even I feel like a lot of people have gotten different things. Like, there's obviously a core group of number of books that a lot of people have all gotten, but then there's a few books where I don't even know. Like, there's one girl I saw, she grabbed a book that I was like, I didn't even know that was there, you know? So anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. If you do like this video, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also, just FYI, I am having a giveaway on my blog, so go check that out. I will link my giveaway down below. And also, if you like my videos, do hit the bell button down below so you'll be notified every single time that I release a new video. So anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thank you. Bye.